friends, it's Cassie and welcome back for another Brutus Monroe video. Today we're going to be using the new die of the month, which is called Rose Corner, and let me just show you how gorgeous this is. So the packaging is a little bit bigger, but what you see on the outside is exactly the size of it, and it is absolutely stunning. I love this die. It's so beautiful and intricate, and there's a lot you can do with it. We're also going to be using these simple strips, Crafty, which is the collaboration between Brutus Monroe and Tailored Expressions, along with the matching die that you can get separately. Fantastic stamp and die set. We're also going to be using some different papers. This is the Poison Apple by Brutus Monroe, so pretty. We've also got the alcohol marker cardstock, and then we're also going to be pulling in some Raven cardstock as well. So let's go ahead and get started with what we're doing. I want to color my roses, so what I'm doing is I'm actually outlining the die, which, come to find out, isn't the best option. This isn't the best way to do it. I thought it might be, but the best option to do would be to trace around your actual die cut. So I went ahead and cut this out thinking that this would be good to sit behind the die, but then when I line it up with the actual die cut piece, which isn't that beautiful, it doesn't really match, so I'm going to have to try this again. So learn from me. If this is a technique that you want to try, go ahead and trace around your actual die cut image. And now that I've trimmed that out, I'm going to attach my first die cut rose corner. I actually cut this out 4 times, and there's a reason for that. And I am just going to use some liquid glue to adhere this down. If you had like a big sticky sheet of tape, that would be really great, that you could die cut out as well. That would be wonderful. I just don't have that much of it. And so the liquid glue works fine. You don't need to put it all over the background. Just make sure that you're putting it in prominent areas. And now I'm going to move on to doing my coloring. So I put down my first one, and now I've got this Copic color. This is the RV13, the Copic marker, but you could use any alcohol markers, would work fine. I want to color just the roses. I did screw up on that one, and I colored part of the leaf. That's because I think I was talking on the phone at the same time. So pay attention to what you're coloring. And I'm just putting down my first wash of color. And the whole point of this is I want to make this look like it is stained glass. So I am coloring all the roses with that same RV13. And then there's even some rose buds on the edges. I just can't get over how really, this is a beautiful die cut. And so I'll color all of those. You could paper piece this. We did have someone on the team that did it, and it's absolutely stunning. Now I'm coming in with my second color, which is an R35. And then I'm going to blend that out with that RV13 again. And just doing that little bit of that pop of color adds a little bit of dimension to the roses that just aren't there with the flat color. And I'm not so worried about the inside pieces. I'm just putting down a little bit of color. But I love how that blends out. It's so pretty with that pink, and then you've got that corally red at the edges, or the on the inside. Now I'm going to do the same thing with our leaves. So I'm going to color everything else that wasn't colored. I'm going to color that with that G07. And when all of that is filled in, we are going to come in with one more darker color, G19, and we're just going to add a little bit of shadowing and shading just to some areas. And those are fairly close colors, so I'm actually not even going to blend that out. Now that we're done with that, I'm going to get my card base ready, which is that Poison Apple cardstock I cut down to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4.25. It's a side folding A2 size card. And then with the Crafty simple strips, I've already stamped and cut this out. So I will have the video to that linked down below if that's something you're interested in learning about. But I have all the pieces, which is what makes this stamp so fabulous. You can stamp it a couple times and then keep the little pieces, and then as you need sentiments, you just pull them out. I've just got those all together. And then I'm pulling out a couple of the sentiments that I want to use. I'm going to put that one on the inside. I used my good paper for you. And then I've got another one set aside for the outside. But our next step would be to add 2 more layers. So I want this to look like it's, like I said, stained glass. So I added 2 more layers of the die cut rose. And now I'm going to attach the entire thing down to my card front, the card base, the card front of the card base. And then the next step is actually going to be to put in our stained glass image. So I'm using a clear, glossy, you could use it as an adhesive, but that is the Glossy Accents, and I'm going to put it into each of those wells. And I'm not worried about it getting on the outside edges. As you can see, I sort of did, but it just looks so cool and shiny, and I love that. I did miss a piece, so we'll fill that in. And then just a few more extra pieces. We'll put it in, like I said, not being concerned at all about it kind of coming out of that well. That's what the fourth and final piece is for. So I will get that ready with some glue, and then I'm going to glue that right over the top, being careful not to like dip my fingers in to the glossy accents. And then I'll just tap it down just carefully, and then let that dry. And it takes a little bit to dry, but when it dries back, it is absolutely stunning. Then I'll take my sentiment. I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape on the back along with a little bit of liquid glue, and we'll adhere down our sentiment, which says Sending Smiles and Sparkle. And then for a final bit of embellishment on this, I'm going to use it's the Easy Squeeze black glue. So you could use this for any sort of dark elements that you might want if you're afraid your glue is going to dry white or just show. But I'm actually not using this as glue today. I'm going to use it like it's, to make my little enamel dots. It will dry matte, which is nice, so it's not really glossy. And I just thought it was the perfect pop to add to this card. So I'll just be pretty liberal with the amount that I put all over that background. And then I'm going to tap those down to make them look a little bit more like enamel dots. And when that's all done, that's going to finish off our card. So I would love to know what you think of this. If you liked this, I would love to know. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.